Welcome to the mothership. We're going to do a quick review for you today. And it's going to be of this El Paso Saddlery 1890 original holster. Now, original holster, that is the model that they call it. This is not an 1890 original holster. But anyway, I had this specially made for my Model 19 I installed. These are called service grips. You'll see they have the half moon cutout which goes inside. If any of our watchers have Smith & Wessons, unless they're extremely old and they're your grandfathers, you'll notice that your grips probably will extend over this and to various degrees. But this is called the service grip. This is one of the original shapes of Smith & Wesson grips. This is, like I said, a Model 19, 357 Magnum, 6.5 inch barrel. Again, we are safe and clear. Very fine gun. Combat masterpiece, Model 19, I believe. Shout out to my friend, Buckshot John. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I love you, man. I haven't seen you in a long time, but I know you know. So, down to the nitty gritty. The gun is for this holster, which is our review today. 1890 original holster. That's the model name, made by El Paso Saddlery. I opted for the lining, which you can see this different color here. This lighter camel color as opposed to the, this is called Russert. If you order anything, everything comes in Russert or black. Maker's mark on the outside. I think the maker's mark on the outside, that's my first critique of anything El Paso Saddlery. I think everyone pays enough for your shit to know whose it is, and we're gonna brag about it because we like y'all. You could leave this spot open and you could literally ask your customer, hey, what's your initials? You want us to stamp it there? Because you could literally do that for your customers for basically free, I think. But anyway, but I opted for the fancy tooling. You can see this is an open bottom holster, single piece construction, folded over, but you can see that this band is riveted. Okay, a lot of the 1890, you know, did see a depression in America. And I believe that's probably why holsters started being constructed like this, you know, out of spare pieces. You know, whereas the original 1880s, this would have had slits in it, and this would have passed through its own piece. You know, I did order this holster because it had the largest back flap, skirt, as you would call it. That is the distance projecting beyond the actual holster for the gun. That's why I picked this. This is supposedly the lower cut model, as that is an option, though I'm not sure. You know, I would like to see a low cut model exposing a bit more of this to get in front of the trigger, you know. I'd like to see it more like that, you know. 1911s, Western 1911 rigs exposed to all the trigger guard. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that at all. You know, everybody wants to talk about safety or whatever. Get used to your shit. Know your shit like the back of your hand. I cut the trigger guards off of some of my guns, and somebody said, "Do you know how dangerous that is?" I said, "Yeah, that's what it's for." You know. The gun is not for anything but danger. So let's not kid ourselves. But anyway, back to the holster. Seems to be decent construction. I have a few critique marks. You can see that this piece was too short, and they whoever, the kid there, pulled this up and they riveted it, and now there's tension there that's pulling this forward, which I do not like. I find that to be a lazy, they used a piece that was too short. The rivet also, if you can see, the rivet is just clipped off. It has a couple sharp parts. It's not dressed in any way. I believe that is, I think that's subpar for the quality in which, you know, this is supposed to be. If you're gonna line it and you're gonna do this stamping and you're doing all this stuff and you're supposed to be top quality, you know, you got undue stress in my $300 holster, and you got a rivet that needs to be dressed. It's not, you know, so I have to say that. Also, this piece of leather here, I would like to see this come longer and more out of a Latigo piece of leather. This is just some sort of decorative suede. I could just rip this. I do like the color contrast there, but get some of this in a Latigo. Get some split Latigo and something. And then this is the Indian braid. You cut a little slit in one and you pass it through. And then you cut a slit in the other one and pass it through like this. My dad taught me that a long time ago. Maybe we'll have a video about that. But anyway, all in all, I am gonna fucking probably always recommend El Paso Saddlery. And that's why I don't have a problem with telling them the shit that they did wrong on this. And I think this just needs to be more attention paid to the little things, you know. You can already see a crease in the leather above the rivet. There's a very high stress mark there from this piece being too tight and the skirts being pinched upward. So I have to say that to me was a real downer on this whole holster, being how much it cost and that I got the line. Now the base model of this is, I can't remember. Y'all have to look it up, elpasosaddlery.com. But see, I had the lining put in and I had the fancy floral carving. Now this is supposed to, it is advertised as fancy floral carving. Now we can't see the back of it because we have a lining put in. But of course, if you can see any indication of the design on the front, on the back of the piece of leather, it is stamped. You should not be able to see anything if it is actually carved and cut with leather tools. But go to elpasosaddlery.com. elpasosaddlery.com is definitely famous for General George Patton. If anybody knows the movie Patton, Patton was notoriously carried a Colt single action. A Colt single action. All right. Notoriously carried a Colt single action on one hip and notoriously carried a 1911 .45 on the other. And those original holsters were made by El Paso Saddlery. So when you watch Patton with George C. Scott, those holsters were originally made for General George Patton by El Paso Saddlery. El Paso Saddlery also offers those holsters, and they seem really good. They have a steel reinforcement. They have a forward cant. I mean, they're a real gunfighter special. And let's not forget that George Patton knew what the fuck he was doing and was part of the last successful cavalry charge, led the last successful cavalry charge of the U.S. military, helped develop Saber, cavalry Saber. You know, he wasn't a fucking no count, you know, but I believe El Paso Saddlery also made holsters for John Wesley Hardin, John Dillinger, and Tom Three Persons, if I'm correct. Anyway, thank you very much, El Paso Saddlery, for at least still being in business and continuing a tradition I will be ordering more. I hope that their quality check and their expertise toward their own craftsmanship, I don't want to find anything wrong with my next one, is all I'm saying, because it'll disappoint me to the point where I feel like I'm going to have to find a new holster. Now, I used to use a guy named Bud Fender in Niceville, Florida, but he died years ago, and he was probably the greatest leather worker ever born. Also, I used to work for a guy, Cody Henson, in Montana. His father, if y'all saw me wearing my chaps when I was cutting that tree down, he made those chaps. Let's see, I'm 40 years old. He made those for me when I was 19. You know, and I used the fuck out of them, and they just got a couple cuts in them because they're real. They teach you how to leather work up there at Red Deer. That's a Montana joke if anybody gets it. Deer Lodge. Anyway, so El Paso Saddlery, thank you very much for at least taking my money. And you know, the stitching is very nice. I do want to say some positive things. The stitching is very nice. There's no flaws in it. It ends well. The carving, which I can definitely, I think that some of this is stamped and then they accentuate it with carving, I think. If I'm wrong, yeah, I can see right there. I think I see the edge of a stamp right there. I think. If you look right, I don't think you're going to be able to see it, but right here in between these two marks, you can see a faint straight line pressed in there lightly. And I believe that is the edge of, yeah, you can see it. That's the stamp. So I think this is stamped, and then a guy comes through with his knife and carves out the little details and stamps some things by hand to accentuate, to make it look more hand done than it really is. So, but the liner is tight and very smooth. It is good thick leather. I have all last deer season I carried this firearm in this holster. I had no issues. Even with the thong. Now you can get all their holsters ordered with a snap or just a hammer thong. Now without the hammer thong, I had no problem doing the kind of hunting I was doing. Now I was doing real 21st century white-tailed deer hunting. You know, I wasn't out there fucking trying to kill a moose with a spear like the old days when we were younger. But can never be too careful. But it's a good holster, and they make a lot of different stuff. They don't just make Western stuff. Check out their alligator and their stingray custom new age shit, which is really nice. If you need to dress up and fucking wear fucking cool shit, fucking get a hold of El Paso Saddlery. Hey, we will have some more reviews on some different stuff. I have another El Paso Saddlery shoulder holster, John Wesley Hardin special, made for a Schofield that we'll be doing recently. Or we'll be doing soon. Have we done it? I don't know. But we will do it, and it doesn't matter when or where or how. You will see it when it's to be seen. Also, we're going to do a couple other reviews on some other brand of holsters, but we won't name them now, as we want to keep this to El Paso Saddlery. Once again, this is Lax Sivrak saying, buy these fucking holsters if you want a good one. They're fucking cool, man. And if you have, I'm sure if you need something they don't have them on their website, you call them motherfuckers like they're a saddlery in El Paso, Texas. You know, I'm sure they do custom work. If they don't, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah, so we're looking to, I know in the future we are looking for an El Paso Saddlery holster for this Ruger Vaquero, and we are probably looking for a holster for the Springfield Mil-Spec 1911. So if there's anybody out there that wants to change my mind or has any other holster makers that they think I should look at, please drop it in the comments. Let's talk whatever the fuck. Anyway, this has been Lack Sivrak, telling you my opinion on El Paso Saddlery 1890, their original holster model. I'll see you on down the trail.